Hello and welcome back to Blow Up the Team. Jeremy here today, and we're going to be going through the Pittsburgh Steelers 2020 NFL Draft. I've got Matt here with me today.
Hello, hello.
Um,
Full disclosure, free Woj, fuck ESPN.
okay. Well, that being said, we will be using ESPN site, but any highlights that are not from ESPN's draft page will be linked in the description down below. So be sure to check that out after the video. Um, One other quick thing. On the last video that I made, this New York Jets 2020 draft recap, um, there were some comments, which I mean, I don't really care about the comments, but at least make them respondable. If I see all the comments that you guys post,
I don't know,
so
I think we got a really great comment. I think you stupid, you don't know football it really opened my eyes. It made me realize we need to quit.
yeah. I mean, honestly, like I respect if you want to comment and you want to hate on us, that's fine. But at least comment something I can respond to, so we can have a conversation. Like, what's my response? There's no response to that. We hearted it and we pinned it because that was the only thing that we could do. Like how am I supposed to respond to that? So if you're gonna comment, I will see
He's
it and
making a
I will
good shit
respond.
post. Like, come on,
I will respond.
make it like like, give us a quality shit post in there. Come on, give us something.
There you go. Like,
And this nothing's beating my D&D shit post, but like,
here we go. But for real, like, if you guys, anything you guys post in the comments, I will see it and I will make an attempt to respond to it if it's respondable. But that one, the two that we got in the Jets video was not. But anyways, that's enough. Enough of that. Let's get into the video that we have today, and let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were 8-8, which I think that it was a season that was a little bit rougher than was to be expected, just because of injuries. I mean, they did lose a lot of talent, just kind of over time over the past few seasons. Some of that talent wasn't playing for them. Le'Veon Bell. um, but I mean, they lost two of the best athletes in the league over the past few seasons between Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. So, you know, there were some questions about what the team was going to look like for the season. And I think that, to be honest, I think they could have. I don't think that you could have asked much more from this team. They also lost Big Ben, if I'm remembering correctly, after the
yeah.
either beginning of week 2 or end of week 1. Um,
No, beginning of week 2 is like 5 minutes in.
yeah.
Like
So
my team, Big Ben, leader of men. Like immediately, Big Ben's gone. Like, hello.
okay. Okay. Anyway.
Actually, I didn't even draft him for that team, which is the best part. I named it after him, didn't even fucking draft him. I'm like, nah, there's no way he does anything this year that I was not expecting week 2, 5 minutes in, gone.
But considering that he went down so early in the season, and the team still finished at 500 with losing all the talent that they've lost over the past few years, I would consider that a win of a season for the Steelers. They started off 0-3, and they fought back to make it. I mean, they started off 0-3 and finished 0-3. So the middle of the season, they just caught fire. Um, and I believe James Conner was also injured for a while, as well as Jalen Samuels, if I remember correctly, which is their top two running backs. So like, yeah, they just had a lot of injury problems. All things considered equal, I think that was a pretty good showing from the Steelers. It showed how resilient they are as a group, and gives you some hope going forward. A little bit of a breakdown here. They struggled on offense, which I think was to be expected given losing those two obviously star players, as well as Big Ben going down, and all the other injuries that they had on offense. They were 30th in yards per game, 31st in passing yards, and 29th in rushing yards. Um, they were also 27th in points per game. So a little bit of a low season for them offensively. But again, I would say that that's pretty fair and almost to be expected, given everything else that's kind of gone on around this team this season. Um, I think that's more than fair that it's expected for them to have had a down season. They signed Eric Ebron from the Colts to be tight end one in this offseason, so trying to reload a little bit on just some overall talent. They still have Juju. Hopefully James Connors and Jane Samuels can stay healthy this season, and Big Ben as well. Um, they also just a interesting little tidbit. They also brought in Derek Watt to join his brother TJ, so now they got two Watt brothers on the same team, which is pretty interesting. Um, but Notably, they also signed Steven Wisniewski from the Chiefs to start at left guard as well as be backup center. He's been a very, very solid left guard. I believe he's also on the Eagles Super Bowl roster, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so kind of beefing up their line a little bit, trying to block for Big Ben so hopefully he doesn't get hurt again, as well as give those running backs some room to run. Defense. The defense was, quite frankly, what carried the ship this season. 5th in yards
Oh,
allowed per
absolutely.
game, 3rd in passing yards, 14th in rushing yards, and 6th in points allowed. So you finished at 500, turn around and thank the defense. The defense is 90% of what got you there. You wouldn't have been in the position that you were in if it wasn't for that defense. And they just had a really good showing. T.J. Watt came into his own. He's showing a lot of. I mean, honestly, he was completely disruptive in every phase of the game at some points. Um, so, I mean, you gotta like what you see from him. Um, I would also like to point out that for a lot of years, the coaching staff in Pittsburgh was kind of, I don't know. They would go. There's a lot of bipolar feelings I feel like going on towards the coaching
Oh
staff.
yeah,
Would you say that that's fair?
absolutely. They're oh god, their head coach, uh,
Mike Tomlin, right?
Mike Tomlin. Oh, it was all surrounding Mike Tomlin. Like, because Pittsburgh has the consistent problem where they play down to their competition at every step they get a chance to. Like
As
for the
we just
past
finished
couple years.
watching them completely destroy and derail a Bengals team, but that's fine.
Well, yeah, it's the Bengals.
I'm just saying, you were saying they played down to the competition and they were up
They play down to
20-43.
competition that they're not as good as. They play down to everyone. Like they think they, and so
Listen, they played. I'll just say this: they played the Ravens close. They played the 49ers close. This was a tough football team, despite all the injuries. This was just an overall tough football team. But where I was going with that comment on the coaching staff was, I don't know if it was Mike Tomlin or the offensive coordinator, who I do not know the name of, and I apologize for that. They did a lot of inventive things this year. I don't know if you had a chance to watch any.
I only got to watch like I think I watched that game against the Bengals, and I watched a couple. I haven't watched. I didn't watch a whole bunch.
I was honestly kind of surprised. I saw a kind of a resurgence almost from the of like the Wildcat. I know they like to have not James Connors. Jalen Samuel. They like to have him get back there and receive the snap. Like they were trying a whole lot of new things, and I think the coaching staff deserves some credit for keeping the team relevant and in position to succeed this season. Um, I know that there's been some mixed feelings about the coaching staff, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the team was just better than what I felt like they were after all of those injuries. But I feel like the team came together and they played well. But anyways, that's enough about the 2019 season. Let's talk a little bit about their draft this year. And the reason I was kind of dragging this out a little bit is because they only made 6 draft picks. They were not particularly active. They did wind up trading one of their later picks for a defensive contributor as well, though I didn't necessarily list him by name because he's going to be a backup. But um, let's talk a little bit about their draft. Start off with Chase Claypool, wide receiver out of Notre Dame. Um, Interesting tidbit provided by ESPN. At 6'4", 238, he's the only receiver of this size to. There was only one other receiver at this size to clock in a sub 4.45 40. Do you want to take a guess of who the other guy was? Random guess.
Um, Tyreek Hill.
Okay, Tyreek Hill is not 6'4". Calvin Johnson. He is
Oh, I didn't
the.
hear the 6'4" part. I was like, I just, totally. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck anyone's height is.
Oh, fair enough. Um, but yeah, so Calvin Johnson is the only other guy, at least physically, that matches his speed for the size. I am not comparing the two. Obviously, a lot remains to be seen. Calvin Johnson is one of the best ever, in my opinion, at least. Um, but he's got good speed with long strides. He can make contested catches, and he wins a good percentage of jump balls. He needs to work on getting in and out of his breaks. But he was also shown to be a huge special teams contributor. In 2017, he led his team in coverage tackles. So he's just, athletically, he's kind of a freak. No one else really is doing what he's able to do at his size. Um, and he's at the very least he should be able to contribute solidly on special teams. So um, I think that as long as if he can work on his hips a little bit and getting out of his breaks a little bit faster, I think that he's going to find himself producing at a very high level in the NFL. But even still, he's currently listed as wide receiver 4. Kind of trying to load up this offense a little bit, give them some more weapons, and I think that pick makes a lot of sense. Next up, we've got Alex Highsmith, outside linebacker out of Charlotte. Um, he set the school record in 2018 for tackles for a loss, and then he just decided to go and reset it in 2019. He's got strong hand as well as an effective inside move. He's also great at disrupting the run, and he's got good range. He does lack the ideal overall size and strength to be a defensive end, so he projects better as an outside linebacker. He is currently listed as a backup to Bud Dupree, but I think he's got all the tools to develop and become a very solid producer for this defense. I think that he'll be flexible enough where they can kind of move him around a little bit on the defense. I don't think he's going to be completely landlocked at outside linebacker, and I think that he's got a solid future. Next up, we got Anthony McFarland Jr., running back out of Maryland. Now, the running back position, when I saw this pick, I was immediately a little confused because they do have James Conner and Jalen Samuels who have both been producing. But this kid has got good burst to get through the hole and get upfield. He's got the second gear to be able to run away from defenders once he gets an opening. He fights for yards after contact, and he finishes strong. He's got solid ball skills and is a threat with the ball in his hands. So even though he's only listed as running back 4, I think he's just such a great athlete that the Steelers will find a way to get him involved at some point in some way, whether that is putting him in the backfield and handing the ball off to him, throwing a screen, running 2 running back sets. I think all those options are on the table, and I think that they've got such great. I mean, we saw what James Conner, not James Connors. James Conner and Jalen Samuel were able to do the last couple of seasons. So I don't think there's any reason to believe that they won't find a way to work this kid into the offense a little bit. And if not, I mean, I definitely think that he'll continue to develop. And unfortunately, running back is one of the most injury-prone positions. So it's a high likelihood that he will find a way onto the field that way. I am not wishing injuries on anybody, by the way. I hope that nobody ever gets injured in the league, but it's an unfortunate reality that it's one of the most beaten-up positions. Next up, we've got Kevin Dotson, offensive guard out of Louisiana. He's shown a strong ability to move defenders off the ball and run blocking. He finds ways to win in pass protection despite below-average length and barely adequate athletic ability. His hand placement is a bit inconsistent, and he needs to keep his hips under him a little bit better. He is currently only listed as a 4-string right guard, but I would expect the Steelers to experiment with him at left guard, considering the lack of depth at their position. Currently on the roster, or at least on the depth chart, the only left guard listed on that depth chart is Wisniewski, who they signed this season. So that's going to be a position that they're going to need to figure out who's next up in the event of an injury, and I would expect them to at least experiment with what he can do on that side of the line. Next up, we've got Antoine Brooks Jr., safety out of Maryland. He is a safety linebacker hybrid. He can move all around the formation as the position would suggest, considering him being listed as a hybrid. He can work through traffic and is fast enough to shoot through gaps when playing near the line. His range isn't great, and there are some questions. There's some question marks on his ability to turn in space. He just seems to be a little bit tight. But he is opportunistic with some ball skills, even though he's not necessarily a ball hawk. He's currently listed as a 4-string free safety, but I would say guys with this kind of flexibility tend to find a home somewhere, whether it's defense, special teams, something like that. They will find a way. Guys that are this flexible tend to just find a way to get a decent career, get a solid career, be a contributor on a team in some facet of the game. So I would expect him to find a home somewhere. Yes, this is news, by the way. The Redskins are officially changing their team name, but that will be another day. But anyways, I would say that whether it's defense or special teams, I think that he will find a home somewhere. And for a sixth round pick, a sixth round pick, I think that um, he's got solid potential. And kind of going into the last guy here, we got Carlos Davis, defensive tackle out of Nebraska. He's got good upper body strength, and he shows a strong punch at the line. He does need to improve on his hand-to-hand combat skills, and he's a better run defender than a pass rusher. But he does show some upside given time. He's currently listed as a third-string defensive tackle, but out of a seventh-round pick, you're not going to necessarily expect to find a guy who's ready to step in this season. You're looking for those guys that do have potential, and he fits the bill for that. So I think that overall, kind of looking at their draft as a whole, I think that they've made a lot of moves that make some sense. I mean, when I say a lot, all 6 of their picks, I think I can't really point to one and say that was a complete miss. Like I did say, I was questioning the Anthony McFarland pick, but I think he's just such a great athlete that kind of makes sense anyways. So I'm not mad at their draft. I'm not going to say that they went out and had a crazy insane draft. They nailed every pick, A plus. Like I'm not going to go there either. But I think it was solid. I think I'm going to slot them in at a B. I think it was solid, but I don't think that there was anything super crazy, one direction or another. I think that they got some guys that will be they'll be in position to have a chance to contribute this season. And I think that a few of them will be able to do so. And then it's just going to be a matter of how these other guys further down into the draft or these last couple of guys are able to get up to NFL speed and produce going forward. Do you have an opinion, Matt?
No, not really. I think they're solid. They didn't reinvent the wheel, so I think a B is fair.
All right. So then I think that will be it for us. It was a little bit shorter today again because there was only 6 picks, so not a whole lot to really get into here. But if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Again, the highlight video will be linked in the description down below, so go make sure to check that out. Also in the description, there will be a link to our Discord, as well as our other social media. We are not very active on those other social media, so if you are looking to kind of see what we're up to, definitely check out the Discord. If you ever want to talk sports, esports, anything really, come on over and say what's up, and we'll be sure to respond. Matt, I know, says he's interested in talking about baseball, so especially since some baseball fans over. No comment from Matt. I just gave him a free.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
You could have talked about. Oh yeah, also your video tomorrow or anything. I mean, I was trying to give you free reign here to talk about baseball for 30 seconds, and you didn't go there. I'm disappointed.
I'm sorry.
It's not okay. I will never forgive you. You have severely dampened my respect.
Sucks to be you then.
Damn.
I'll give it. You can be disappointed in me all you want, buddy.
Okay. Anyway, make sure to come back tomorrow for a Seattle Mariners video.
Yeah, wow, come check out the Seattle Mariners, guys. One of the best teams in the league. I can't wait to talk about them. They're going to be really competitive this year with maybe 10 wins on the season, if they're lucky. Actually, because Seattle Mariners, they'll win the first 15 games in a row, have to be 10 games ahead by game 20, and then manage to lose the next 40. So, come on down.
I think you can sense where that one's headed. Anyways, I think that will be it for us for today. Again, make sure to go check out those links down in the description. And come back tomorrow to check out Matt's Seattle Mariners video. But until then, peace.